Thank you very much, Kirby. So before we get started, I just want to give you guys an overview of kind of where we're going to head today. So the first thing I'm going to be talking about is what I think of as the most important part of a cloud implementation today. From there, after talking about that, we'll dive into a baseline, and we'll be talking about different tools, technology, and kind of going through the acronym soup to give you guys a better understanding of the landscape. Then we'll be going through some kind of practical, real-world approaches to cloud data integration. I'll try and demystify what I can in about 45 minutes to an hour. Then I'll be giving some sort of lessons learned, which is this measure twice, cut once section. And then finally, at the end, we'll just open it up to questions, and I'll try and plow through as many as I can. So with that said, let's go ahead and dive into the presentation. So at the start of a project as a consultant, my goal is to deliver this. And this image is kind of representative of what we want to do, which is lots of data visualization, lots of analytics, lots of planning and budgeting, whiz-bang front-end stuff. That's, I think, from a sales cycle perspective, what a lot of our customers see. They see this front end, and that's what they're after. They're after the reporting, the analytics, the budgeting, the forecasting, the short close cycle. And so, that's what I'm trying to get to. But kind of like buying a house, there's some stuff that gets in the way first that we want to address. And I can kind of reflect on this personally because my wife and I actually just recently purchased a home, and she wanted that house, so we were going to go and buy it. And when she was walking through the house, and there's a picture of it there, she loved the countertops, loved the bathrooms, and a nice big backyard for our 3 dogs. It was cute as a button, and the front end, the visuals, the feel, the vision, that's what she wanted. And so we put an offer in. And then very quickly you get to this stage called the inspection. And the inspection, I felt like, was the real meat. It's where we're diving in with someone we're paying several $100s to look at the plumbing, take a hard look at the electric, a hard look at the panel. And up here in Boston with our 3rd storm in just a couple of weeks rolling in, the heating system. And that's because in the inspection, those are the things that seem to really matter. I didn't care if there was a slight gap in the crown molding or there's a scratch in the yard. I can deal with that. What I care about is this back-end stuff. And maybe that's the technician in me, maybe that's the architect, but I do feel like there's some relation there to, cloud implementations where folks are looking at that front end. And as a consultant, what I'm really focusing on is integration. I'm trying to answer questions like, what's the data that we need to load to enable those different dashboards and visuals? Where is this information going to be coming from? Do I have to integrate with an ERP system? How much information do I need to process? What are the dimensions or metadata that I need to load to be able to build these front-end visuals? How am I going to manage security? How am I going to integrate with their on-premise LDAP directory? How often does this information need to flow? What processes is this cloud solution going to support? And if that information needs to be timely, how am I going to make that work? Do I have to get data out of the application? Cloud data solutions are more and more becoming a part of an overall process. So just as important as it is to get information in, I've got to get information out of the application. And then finally, how much time is this going to take? Because as someone who's sitting down and developing that project plan, I've got to make sure that in this overall, 8, 12, 16-week project, I'm appropriately sizing the data integration effort so that I can actually, at the end of the day, produce those visualizations. So before we kind of talk about how I might approach that data integration, I wanted to go through a quick baseline on different things like tools, technology, and kind of demystifying that Oracle acronym soup. So a primer on the elements that we would look to integrate. Well, when we talk about data integration, obviously data is right in there, and data to me, that's the fact or the metric in a report. In a financials world, that's the numbers in a financial report. That could also be metrics like an employee's hire date if we were doing positioning and employee budgeting and forecasting.